Good afternoon and welcome to RMU Live. Today is Monday, February 18th, 2019. Happy President's Day. I'm Gage Golding.
And I'm John Blinn. We're following several developing stories this weekend, including an RMU police officer that was hit by a vehicle on campus.
RMU Central Media has been covering this developing story over the weekend.
A man that was allegedly attempting to elude police Friday morning at Robert Morris University struck a police officer with his vehicle. According to a criminal complaint obtained by RMU Century Media, 27-year-old Justin M. Curry of Coriopolis allegedly struck a Robert Morris University police officer with the side mirror of his truck while attempting to elude police. Officers say they received a call about a suspicious male inside a parked vehicle in the gazebo parking lot Friday morning. Curry provided police with a false name and address before fleeing the scene and allegedly striking the police officer. Curry led authorities on a pursuit through campus before finally coming to a stop in the lower John Jay parking lot. Robert Morris University spokesperson Jonathan Potts said in a statement that the police officer was not injured and did not receive medical treatment. Mr. Potts also went on to speak about the safety of the RMU campus in light of recent police activity. Quote, those two incidents were unrelated to one another. What they demonstrated, however, is that our police department is able to respond to emergencies quickly and effectively. The safety of our students, faculty, and staff is always our top priority, and the RMU campus remains a very safe place to live, work, and study, end quote. Curry remains behind bars at the Allegheny County Jail after he failed to post a $100,000 bond. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 26.
The Robert Morris University Police Department declined to comment further on the ongoing investigation.
One person is in custody after an incident involving the SWAT team in Mount Washington. According to authorities, the suspect was a white male who was driving an unauthorized SUV. He was believed to be armed and jumped out of the car on Chicane Avenue, where the man entered a home and refused to leave. The suspect surrendered after the Pittsburgh SWAT team was called to the scene and nobody was harmed in the incident. One person is in the hospital after a shooting in North Braddock around 11:34 p.m. Saturday night. A 21-year-old man was found suffering from multiple gunshot wounds in a home on Lobinger Avenue. The incident was determined to be a drive-by shooting, and the suspect was believed to be driving a light-colored SUV. The victim is expected to survive.
Vigils are being planned for the victims of a workplace shooting in suburban Chicago. 5 people were killed when a coworker opened fire Friday afternoon. A workplace shook by violence. In a community mourning, 5 lives lost. A gunman opened fire Friday afternoon at a manufacturing warehouse in Aurora, Illinois, killing 5 employees in a shooting rampage. 5 officers were struck by gunfire when they responded to the scene around 1:30 p.m. local time. The gunman then hid deep inside the 29,000 square foot warehouse, leading officers on an intense manhunt, ending 90 minutes later when the suspect was killed by police. Authorities identified the gunman as 45-year-old Gary Martin and said he was being let go from his job at the Henry Pratt facility on Friday. Authorities said he has a criminal history, including 6 prior arrests by the Aurora Police Department. Investigators are questioning why and how Martin was able to obtain a gun.
The Katanning Police Department is searching for a missing mother of 2. 27-year-old Katie Stoner was last seen around 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. John Eugene Colbert was named a suspect of interest and was the ex-boyfriend of Stoner. Colbert is wanted by other law enforcement agencies, and anyone with information regarding the case can contact the Katanning Police Department.
Last week, President Donald Trump declared a national emergency, securing $8 billion in federal funding to build the border wall. We took to downtown Pittsburgh this past weekend to learn what people had to think. On Friday, President Donald Trump addressed the nation from the Rose Garden outside of the White House to declare a national emergency, securing $8 billion to build a border wall between the United States and Mexico.
I'm going to be signing a national emergency.
President Donald Trump agreeing to a government funding bill that includes a bipartisan compromise on border security funding. But the $1.375 billion agreed upon by Congress just isn't enough for the president. Trump raked together approximately $8 billion by reallocating defense and treasury funds and declaring a national emergency. We took to the streets of Pittsburgh to hear what the taxpayers funding the wall had to say.
Yet another idiot statement from an idiot in office. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's $8 billion that could be used for so much more in the country, except protecting us from something that is not really a threat.
Mr. Trump plans to gather his $8 billion in funding for the wall by using the $1.375 billion from Congress legislation, $601 million from the Treasury Department's forfeiture fund, up to $2.5 billion from the Defense Department's counter-drug activities, and up to $3.6 billion diverted from the Pentagon military construction funds. Randall Sheps and his son are visiting Pittsburgh from Cleveland and say the wall just isn't necessary.
I think it's crazy, if you ask me. I mean, I think it's something that isn't really necessary, and I think it, it takes that whole declaration of emergency and kind of degrades it to a point where it doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Tamara had a suggestion for the president on how the wall should be funded.
Quite honestly, if he wants to fund a wall, he should use Trump Tower.
The American Civil Liberties Union announced shortly after the president's speech that they would be filing a lawsuit.
An elderly lady in Portage Township has passed away of hypothermia. 97-year-old Mary Zapata was found dead by a neighbor after her house ran out of heating oil. The Cambridge County coroner ruled the death as accidental, and responders found that the temperature in the room was 38 degrees. One person has died and 3 others are injured after a crash in Somerset County. At around 1:30 p.m. Friday, 84-year-old Carl Cotter was driving a Dodge Grand Caravan and hit the back of a Jeep. Cotter died at the Kamenaw Memorial Medical Center while the passenger in the Dodge was sent with critical injuries. The 2 passengers in the Jeep were taken to Somerset Hospital with unknown injuries.
A local monument honoring veterans dating back to World War I was vandalized. Authorities say that the monument in Brackenridge Memorial Park was recently painted with silver spray paint. Police say that the vandals that worked through the night also damaged bronze nameplates, flags, and other items when the paint dripped. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. The Mon Wharf parking lot will partially reopen today following flooding concerns from heavy rains.
The Pittsburgh Parking Authority says the Stanwyck Street side of the parking lot will open, offering approximately 225 spaces. We now look to what we can expect in terms of weather this week with Sonu Babu. Sonu?
Right now it's a chilly day and it's going to stay in the low 30s with a high of 30 degrees. And a low of 16 degrees. Now let's go back over to the desk with Gage and John. Thank you.
Stay connected all the time for all you need to know about sports, news, arts, and entertainment on campus and around the Pittsburgh region. Be sure to visit RMUCentralMedia.com. When we come back from the break, several cars were damaged at the Pittsburgh Auto Show over the weekend.
And Michael Schuley is in the Sports Center getting ready to break down Pittsburgh sports. Thanks for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
A scary story on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. A tractor trailer nearly avoided tragedy on the Pennsylvania Turnpike on Saturday morning after heading west in the eastbound lanes. The tractor trailer began heading into the opposite direction and towards oncoming traffic at around 3:30 a.m.
Signs were placed along the turnpikes to warn drivers to be on the lookout for the vehicle. Eventually, the vehicle was stopped and turned around by state police before anyone was hurt. Several vehicles at the Pittsburgh Auto Show were damaged over the weekend. Pittsburgh police officers responded to the David L. Lawrence Convention Center on Sunday morning. Investigators say that at least 9 cars had slashed tires, small dents, chipped paint, and scratches. Anyone with information is urged to call police.
A student at the University of Pittsburgh has been the victim of threatening Snapchat messages over the past several weeks. The girl began being harassed, whose name has not yet been released, began receiving threatening messages after an account she did not recognize asked her on a date and she rejected it. The girl blocked the account, but threats kept coming. Pitt police believe there may be a second victim involved. Now, over to sports with Mike Shuley.
Thank you, John. The Pittsburgh Penguins split their 2 contests this weekend. On Saturday, the Pens fell to the Calgary Flames by a score of 5-4. Both Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin were able to tally 3 points in the losing effort. Then yesterday, the Penguins bounced back and were able to pick up a win by defeating the New York Rangers 6-5. Crosby tallied another 3 points and Malkin added 2 more goals en route to the victory. As for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they had another preseason matchup this weekend, and they took on the University of Charleston, West Virginia, yesterday afternoon. The Hounds and the Golden Eagles played to a 0-0 draw yesterday. The Riverhounds' next preseason matchup will be this Friday night when they travel down to Oakland to take on the University of Pittsburgh at 7 p.m. That's all we have for this sports report. We'll be back later on. We're going to send it back over to the desk now.
Be sure to tune in to our other RMU-TV programming, RMU Live, on Mondays at 1 p.m. and Fridays at 12 p.m., Sports Talk in the Burgh on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., and Colonial Sports Center on Thursdays at 9:30 p.m.
Coming up, Amazon hasn't been paying federal income tax. Learn why after the break.
And how would you feel biking next to a self-driving car? We took to the street of Pittsburgh to learn more. We'll be right back.
My mind wasn't at school. I had problems at home. That's when I met Narnese. She started helping me a little bit, like, Nia, I don't know what you're doing, but your future is more important. She's my strength. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. Now, here's a question you may have never thought about before. How would you feel about riding a bike or just even walking inches away from a self-driving vehicle?
The organization Bike Pittsburgh asked the Steel City community their thoughts on what the situation with the new technology we took to the streets of Pittsburgh to ask people what they would think. With Uber testing autonomous cars in Pittsburgh, the organization Bike Pittsburgh recently put out a survey asking pedestrians and bikers how they felt about sharing the road with these vehicles.
It makes you uncomfortable because you almost have to be on your heels.
The same thing goes with a human driver, though. I mean, texting and driving is a big issue today, something that impedes a lot of drivers, so it's a mix.
Like Pittsburgh's 2019 survey results revealed that majority of people trust these self-driving cars on the road, some even more than human drivers.
I think for the most part that the self-driving cars are more than capable of maintaining road safety as well as, watching out for pedestrians and stuff like that.
Some of these surveys, however, did report incidents resulting in close calls with these vehicles.
These cars are fairly new. What's to say 4 or 5 years from now what the technology will be like? Will it go bad? What happens if there's a malfunction? Those are things that I don't think we have enough information on yet.
Despite the reported incidents, some people believe that companies will establish more reliable technology in the future to prevent similar problems.
I think, honestly, the technology will advance soon enough to be able to, work out the kinks.
Like Pittsburgh's main concern is public safety, and the survey was put out to hear what pedestrians and bikers would like to see as they continue to share the road with these vehicles.
I would like to see more hard evidence of what is going on with these vehicles, maybe some percentages of malfunctions, have there been any injuries or death, things to kind of give the society in general knowledge of what these cars bring to the world.
Overall, the survey results show that most people remain optimistic in regards to AV technology.
I think they're doing a pretty decent job at maintaining, a natural look, if you will, like of an actual driver. So I honestly can't think of much.
Like Pittsburgh plans on using the results of the survey to help the city of Pittsburgh enforce safety policies on these self-driving vehicles.
I don't know if that's something I would want to be doing, is riding a bike next to a vehicle that's driving by itself. That's some scary stuff. But people in Pittsburgh seem, we talked to a bunch of people yesterday downtown, and they seem to be okay with it as long as the technology continues to advance. But First Lady Melania Trump celebrated Valentine's Day at the Children's Inn on the campus of the National Institutes of Health. Mrs. Trump helped the children with arts and crafts. The Children's Inn is a nonprofit residence for children and families participating in pediatric research. Trump also visited the Children's Inn last year for Valentine's Day.
When we come back from the break, a local mall told its tenants that they only have 30 days to vacate from the premises. All the details coming up.
And a new egg was laid in a local bald eagle's nest. We'll have all the details. Thanks for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to RMU Live. A second bald eagle has been found on the Hayes hillside along the Monongahela River. The egg became visible at 4 p.m. on Friday. The female eagle occupying the nest has laid 3 eggs in 2014, 2016, and 2018. Experts say that if a third egg is to arrive, it will most likely happen in the next several days. You can keep up with the nest by visiting the Hayes webcam.
The Century 3 Mall in West Mifflin is now a ghost town. After the mall was deemed unsafe, anchor stores Dick's Sporting Goods and JCPenney are the only stores remaining. One owner said that this was sudden and he had no time for relocation plans. However, comic book store New Dimension Comics will be moving to the waterfront. If you're thinking that Amazon will have a huge tax bill this year given its record-breaking earnings, you're wrong. Amazon didn't owe the IRS anything in 2017 and 18. That's right, the world's third most valuable company that reported more than $10 billion in profits last year hasn't paid federal income tax for the past 2 years. Loopholes exist in federal law that allows even massively profitable companies like Amazon to avoid paying taxes when past losses. Equipment, purchases, and research and development are taken into account. Amazon's tax rate has been a source of criticism before from politicians ranging from Senator Bernie Sanders to President Donald Trump. The company said in its most recent financial statement that it has still $1.4 billion left to offset any future tax bills. Amazon hasn't commented on its federal tax payments.
When we come back from the break, Michael Shuley will have the latest on RMU sports.
And Sonu Babu has a full look at your forecast. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out?
Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to RMU Live. Let's dive right into the RMU Sports Report, and it was a tough weekend for Robert Morris Athletics. Let's start off with the men's basketball team. The Robert Morris men's basketball team fell to the St. Francis Red Flash on Saturday night by a score of 72-69. Maddie McConnell and Kobe Thomas both put up 13 points for the Colonials, and Thomas recorded 13 rebounds in order to complete the double-double on his return. He's been out for a while. Good to see him back. The men's basketball team will be back out on the court on Thursday when they host the LIU Brooklyn Blackbirds. As for the women's basketball team, they dropped their first game in conference play this weekend when they fell to Mount St. Mary's on Saturday by a score of 61-55. Despite their 11-game win streak being snapped, Nneka Zibo was able to put up 16 points on the night for RMU, and the Colonials will hope to get back in the win column tonight when they travel to St. Francis to take on the Red Flash. I will be there. Century Media will have tons of coverage for that, so stay tuned for that later on tonight. As for the RMU men's hockey team, they split their weekend series with Holy Cross on Friday. The Colonials were able to pick up a 5-3 victory. With this win, Colonials goaltender Francis Marat was able to gain sole possession of the RMU all-time wins record. And unfortunately for Marat and the rest of the Colonials, they were unable to pick up the second victory of the weekend, as on Saturday they were blanked 2-0 by the Crusaders. And then the women's hockey team, they also had a bit of a rough patch this weekend on the road at Lindenwood. On Friday, the teams were able to play to a 2-2 tie, but on Saturday, the Lions came out roaring and were able to defeat the Colonials by a score of 6-1. Luckily for Robert Morris women's hockey, they will be back home next weekend when they have a pair of games against the Mercyhurst Lakers. As for the Robert Morris men's lacrosse team, they dropped their second game of the season on Saturday to the 17th ranked Georgetown Hoyas. The final of this contest was 14-11. Ryan Smith was able to notch a hat trick and an assist for Robert Morris on the game. As for the RMU women's lacrosse team, they were able to pick up an 11-6 victory in their first game of the season against Kent State on Saturday. Kelsey Nelson led the offensive charge for the Colonials with 2 goals and an assist, and Bailey Christensen was also able to grab a pair of goals. The women's lacrosse team will be back in action on Wednesday afternoon when they host the Canisius Golden Griffins. Now we're going to toss it over to Sonu Babu for the weather.
Thank you, Mike. It's not warming up anytime soon today. It is still in the low 30s, and tonight we're going to see a low of 16, but right now there is a 90% chance of snow, and right now we have a lot of snow showers. If we take a look at today outside, and moving on, so as you see on the screen here, we have a lot of snow showers, and tonight we're going to be seeing a low of 16 degrees, and it's going to continue to snow. But moving on to tomorrow's weather, it's going to be in the mid 30s, a high of 35 degrees and a low of 25 degrees with no snow. It's going to be cloudy, 54% chance of humidity. And now let's take a look at our full weather forecast. So on Wednesday we have partly rain and some snow showers, a high of 40 degrees and a low of 38 on Wednesday and Thursday. And Friday it's going to be cloudy in the low to mid 40s. If we look at Saturday, it's going to start raining again and it's going to start warming up. We have a high of 48 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. And on Sunday we have, this is the warmest weather we've seen with some rain, 53 degrees, but it's going to stoop down to a low of 32 degrees. Thank you for listening to the weather forecast for today. Let's take it back to Gage and John on the desk.
Thank you, Sonu. That is the news for now.
Yeah, and you know what, Sonu? I hope I can deal with the rain. I just want the warm temperatures. For the latest news, RMU Central Media is always on. Thank you for joining us, and have a great week.
I was physically at school, but my mind wasn't at school.